Okay guys, we're messing with the NVH right now, and this 2008 Silverado has a vibration between 60 and 65. So we're here with John Gillespie.
Hello everybody.
Say whenever you want to go.
All right.
And we found out this thing calls out the years that we're in. I have a screen recording too.
There's 65.
I'm not even seeing anything that's really high.
Yeah, I didn't really feel anything. I'll try a different speed.
Like there was some like prop shaft and tires that were coming up, but nothing.
This hill, we get a little bit of a load on it, because sometimes drivetrain load will make the vibration come and
go. So we should be towing a boat.
We got a pretty good rumble. I wonder if what we say with the vibration is the noise. I'll slow down to 60 and accelerate back through again.
The tire went really high there, so did the P2.
About 62.
What about if you put it in tow haul mode so it stays down in
right
here?
There, 62 to 63.
Your P2 is really high, and so is the E4.
A P2?
And, yeah, an E4.
Okay. What did I tell you a P2 would be last night?
Drive shaft, like a U-joint?
A U-joint. A P2 is a U-joint. And notice I had to put a little bit of a load on it to feel it.
Yeah.
When there wasn't a load, it really wasn't there.
That's why I was wondering what would happen if you went into like 5th in tow mode.
Pat tows with this all the time. He tows a trailer with a bobcat on the back. So I'm betting what he's feeling is probably many times worse because there's much more torque on the drivetrain. We'll get the pull one more time coming up here. That's 60, 61.
P1's higher right now. We were at like 11. And now the P2 is coming up.
We're at 65. You can feel pretty good vibration.
P2 went up to like 20 there for a second.
All right, go ahead and stop our recording on our Pico, because we definitely got it.
Well, we can keep going. We have like 4 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
Until it gets to the end of the 8-minute buffer. Well, yeah, because right here is where we started recording this section. So we got time.
Yeah, he'll be real happy to know it's a U-joint. I think he did them not all that long ago. But I'll bet you these were the glued in joints, the plastic ones. And as is typical, when they build the drive shafts, they don't have to have those centered perfectly. In many cases, they don't, because they balance the drive shaft after they build it. So we come along, put in U-joints, and now it's forced to be centered, and you end up with a vibration that you didn't have previously. And you start thinking, gee, did I do something wrong? Have I damaged the shaft? What is going on? And it's perfectly normal to have a vibration show up like that. That's why it's a lot of service information will actually tell you that if you replace a U-joint, when it's ones that have the plastic that lock them into the yokes, you're supposed to send the drive shaft out and have it balanced after you replace the U-joints.
So we should be able to fix this.
I'm sorry?
We should be able to fix this.
To a point. Yeah. You've got your drive shaft tool. We actually probably should be able to fix this. I can definitely
see right there. You have a huge tire vibration.
Yeah, that's a huge tire vibration. I felt that. You know, like I say, we had to learn how to figure these things out by the seat of the pants, which means it takes years of feeling a vibration, trying to figure it out. You know, some of the things you were going to get wrong as you were attempting to figure it out. Now that we got a tool like this, it's game changing.
Well, and think of all the new cars that are going to be electric, and they're going to be complaining about noise.
Do you know why we don't use speedometer cables anymore? Because the cars got so quiet that normal sounds from a speedometer cable were annoying. That's part of the reason they went to electronic speedometers.
I thought maybe it was to stop oil from going into the cluster.
Well, maybe. You did have that. We were putting oil in the speedometer cable housings to try to get the cable to spin without bouncing and making the needle bounce all over the place. I can show you the speedometer on that F-150 that's sitting at the shop. That the speedometer doesn't even move till you hit about 40, then it jumps up. I started laughing. It's like, yep. We used to have speedometer shops that would repair that. You know, now, there's nobody around that can fix that. You'll have to get online and find somebody special and ship it to them. United Radio up in Syracuse might still fix it.
I had a car come in one time with an oil leak that was in the dash from the speedometer cable.
Mercedes-Benz used to have an oil pressure gauge in the cluster. It was a legitimate gauge, and there was an oil line when it went through.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, especially if you had the instrument cluster out for repair and somebody else decided they wanted to move the car.
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about when that line decides to leak hot oil.
Imagine having the cluster out and somebody else goes to move the car.
Yeah.
And that little line is pointing right at them.
Yeah. I'm just worried about the hot oil coming on me when it decides to leak or catastrophic failure.
Yeah, do you think you will appreciate a half a quart before you know what's even going on?
Well, people always ask me why I always use electronic gauges and stuff. I'm like, that's why. I've seen what happens to people when they have like race cars and they decide to put a mechanical oil pressure gauge inside the car. I'm like, that's backwards.
Well, at least they know when it leaks.
Yeah. Could you imagine trying to get out of a car, like if the gauge blew off the line or something, and now you got 200-degree oil spraying at you?
I can think of one time that would be worse. When that would happen in a small airplane.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to climb out. Kind of inconvenient. Whatever way you think about it.
The only way to stop it would be shut the motor off and hope that the prop stops spinning.
And it actually won't. It'll windmill for you. It should keep windmilling for you.
but don't they have a brake or something, don't they? Like to stop it. Like they can stop the engine completely, I think.
That's going to be depending on the aircraft.
Okay.
I'll tell you, the Cessnas that I flew did not. In fact, we didn't even have a variable pitch prop. We just had a prop mounted to the end of the crankshaft. By the way, the airfield I learned to fly at's right here. Flew over this golf course many times. Just flying the pattern. Take off, fly around, touch and go, touch and go. Been more than one airplane landed in the golf course.
There's a couple that landed on the highway near my shop.
I'm very happy to say that I never had those experiences.
Well, the one was like was he like 19 or 21-year-old kid landed? He lost his engine with two people in the thing, and he landed it right in the middle of the highway.
That's fine.
I know, but where you landed it, like if I sent you photos, you're gonna be like, wow.
Hey, if he maintained control of the aircraft and he flew it there, he did what he was supposed to do.
They said all he had was like damage to like the tip of one wing and one of the landing gears.
And walked away. It's a good landing. If you get to,
I just always wonder, like, how did they get the plane out of there? Then,
well, yeah, I got pictures of having an airplane on my flatbed. One of my customers was a pilot for U.S. Airways, and he built a Vans, and took my flatbed up there when he was ready to take it out to the airport. He got her all loaded up. I drove it out. It was really cool hauling airplanes on my flatbed.
I always see airplanes land on Route 1 in Delaware near the Air Force Base. Like, it seems to be like a common place where they have like engine failure.
You look at like a Cessna or a Cherokee, it's actually not that big of a job to take the wings off. And usually that's what they do. They very rarely try to fly them out of somewhere like that. Usually they'll just disassemble them, load them up on a trailer, take them back to the airport. A lot of things have gone wrong with people trying to take off from places other than where they really should have been in the first place.
3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4.
We don't have to listen to her count anymore.
I know, I turned it down.
Oh, the birds. Check it out. It's a murder. That's what a flock of crows is a murder. Stupid stuff you learn that's like, why do we even need to know that? It's not like I'm going to walk into some trivia question. Trivia game show.
That bump back there made everything go up. Like, I think every single like list was just maxed.
Yeah, but you know what? The frequency of that, I mean, that was just an impact. So you get to play that back and then look at the frequency that shows up at. Big green. My wife's always laughed. We'll be driving down the highway. I'll go past the tractor store. I'm like, toy store.
So since that vibration's in the drive shaft, could you brake torque it at 65 miles an hour and duplicate it?
The answer is probably, but because you're going to be putting heat into the brakes, you very easily are going to generate yet another vibration.
Okay.
Pretty quickly.
So we need to go get a load of stone.
Hey Pat, throw your Bobcat on the trailer. Let me take this for a drive. I don't think so. Pat can drive if we need to do that. And you know, this is something that we talk about in the class. Sometimes, and we talk about this in some of our diesel classes, you may need to have the vehicle loaded the way the person drives it.
Oh, I had a few that happened like that.
In order to recreate the conditions.
I had a customer that came in with a lean condition on a 2008 the Silverado.
Gas job.
Yeah, it was a gas one, and fuel pump was going bad.
Yeah,
But it only affected it when it was loaded.
Okay, and when you watched the current, what was it doing? Was the current going up or current going down?
I don't remember what the current did, but my fuel pressure gauge tanked when it was loaded.
I would want to see what the current's doing.
Yeah.
What are the two possibilities? The pump's locking up and dragging,
yeah,
or the pump is starting to aerate. It's starting to, pull vapor, which means the current's going down and the speed of the pump's going up while you're losing pressure.
Yeah, I don't remember if I current ramped it or not.
I got a quick little case study that I throw on sometimes when I go to do a class. It's about 9 or 10 slides, and it's showing fuel pressure and fuel pump current and fuel pump RPM. And as you drive the vehicle, you're running about every 10 minutes, the guy would have to shut the thing off and sit for a minute, and then he could drive further. And you can see that the speed of the pump keeps going up, and the pressure's coming down, and the current's coming down. And then it hits a point where the truck stalls, and then when you start it back up, the pressure restores again. You drive it, current keeps dropping, speed of the pump keeps going up. It's got silt in the tank that's plugging the sock up. When he shuts it off, the silt falls off the sock, and you got fuel flow again. And the thing is, you don't need another tool to diagnose the vehicle when you're looking at those three parameters.
Well, I sent you that one where the pump was turning at 68 RPMs and pulling like 18 amps.
16 RPM and
68 RPMs at 18 amps.
Yeah, it's kind of locking up.
It did. It locked up shortly after that. I went to take the capture again, and it was pulling 25 amps or whatever, and blew the fuse.
It's bad.
It was just flatlined at 25 amps, for 10 seconds. It blew the fuse.
You would have gas trucks like this that would randomly blow the fuel pump fuse on startup.
Oh yeah, GM had that bulletin for that or whatever, where they changed the fuse size.
Because the pump would just be semi-locked up, and it would take so much power that it would blow the fuse before the pump started rotating. And then, you put the fuse in and it was
But their
working
fix was to put a bigger fuse in, wasn't it? Then they go from a 15 amp to a 20 amp or something.
Hack! But it was you're right, there was a TSB on that.
Here's our capture from our test drive. So down here, this is where we started. When you go from this neutral on up, this is when we were getting onto the highway. So I want to explain what these numbers and letters are up here. So T1 stands for tire 1. So that's 1 vibration for every tire revolution. You will see it spike up. T2 is 2 vibrations for every tire. T3 would be 3 vibrations for every tire rotation. And then the P's are prop shaft. So it's our drive shaft. So every time the P1 goes up, that's 1 vibration for every drive shaft rotation. Same with P2 would be every 2. And then the engines are the same for every engine rotation. So I'm going to start this up, and we're going to watch what happens as we got on the highway. So here we go. So we started. Now keep it on this P2. So we're accelerating right here, 37, 40. You can see our RPMs right here. As we're accelerating, you can watch this P2 go up. Look at this. So we're already at 8 milligravity. So anything 10 milligravity or higher, you can fill in the vehicle. So you can see we went up to 12. Look at that. We went over 20. See how high that went. We were up pretty high there. And now you can see we're not accelerating as much. So it's not going up. It's going up a little because we accelerated a little bit there. But when we stop accelerating, no more vibration here. Now the tires are kind of worn bad, so they got a noise to them. That's why you see the T1 go up. Anything below the T1 over here is just road noise. So now, get ready. We're going to be accelerating again right here. And we should be able to see our P2 go up. See, our P2 is really low right now. So here we go. We're going to start going up in speed. And look at this. Our P2 is climbing like crazy. Our P1 was going up a little bit. P1 is like a drive shaft imbalance. P2 would be like a failing U-joint. Stuff like a run out issue. And look, now we're coming down again. Our speed and our RPM are going down. Now we're going to start accelerating again. And look at this. It just climbs up like crazy. We were up around 30 milligravity. Look at that. We almost went up to 36. Oh, and down here's our time. So our time is at 360 seconds. So the newest one is here in the front. It's the oldest one. So let's move down here a little bit. Actually, you know what? We'll just highlight it. So if we highlight this section, it'll graph it all out on the screen for us. So now what we can do is we can rotate this. And look at that. Hang on, let's drag this out again. There we go. So look at that. Now we can see where our highest stuff was. And you can see it's all P2. So we have a prop shaft issue we need to look at. And it's going to be like a U-joint or something. Something related to the drive shaft, not a balancing issue. Because our P1 is our drive shaft. Now we do have some kind of imbalance, it looks like. Yeah, we have some kind of imbalance. But we need to take care of this P2 first. Because look at that, we're almost at, let's see. Yeah, we're like 35 or so. And we can change our graph here and look at it in other ways. So look at that, 38. 38 is our highest in this section right here. Let's go down here. Let's move this over. So we have more of a tire vibration down this way. Let's look at our 3D frequency. So guys, we're going to go under and we're going to examine this drive shaft. And we'll go from there. So guys, we came underneath the truck and we found out the drive shaft is not centered in the carrier bearing. We put a string from the front of the truck to the back. It's clamped on. You can see it's not centered right here. So we're going to try to adjust the carrier bearing to center it.
Well, that's about a guess.
Do you have something? So guys, we pulled the drive shaft off and got the carrier bearing off, but the bushings are all shot. See, there's like not much left of these bushings. And look at that. Look how split that is. So there's nothing left of this. Both sides are really, really bad. So and it wasn't centered, and this U-joint is tight. binds up a little bit. And then also, this is an aftermarket U-joint. See the grease fitting? And if we pull this off, there's a single lip seal in here, no thrust washer. And you can see there's no indent in the cap, like these other ones. So we're going to see if we can get another U-joint. Don't know if it's going to be OEM or aftermarket. I always use OEM, but we might not be able to get one here. So I'll let you guys know what we find. So guys, I wanted to show you what happened with this U-joint. So the U-joint wore, well not wore, but this one side, the grease all got rough. See all the other ones? All the other ones are real nice and shiny. The grease ain't that great, but this side has all these ridges right here that you could feel when you were turning it because the grease just caked. And the bearings weren't rotating in there because of that. Because you can see all the grooves where the bearings were at. Where all these other ones, you can take them off. And it's real smooth right here. And see how I wiped it? But these don't wipe. All these grooves are just here, so we need to get a new U-joint. I can't believe we didn't hear that. Unless maybe it's because it's loaded, maybe when it's loaded or wait.
Trucks are on it.
Yeah. Alright. New carrier bearing pressed on. This is what it's supposed to sound like. Nothing. So we're working on getting another U-joint because the one that we got doesn't fit in the axle, well, in the drive shaft. So once we get that, we'll put this back in. Hey guys, we got the carrier bearing and the drive shaft in, and we put a chalk line down, and you can see the carrier bearing shifted towards the passenger side. And we'll come down here and we'll look from this side, and you can see the lines straight on the drive shaft, dead center in the front and the rear, but not the middle. So we're getting back on the highway here with new carrier bearing and a new U-joint. I'm not seeing any prop shaft vibrations. Yeah, there's nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, and the carrier bearing's centered.
And the carrier bearing is centered.
Yeah, there is nothing in P1 or P2.
Control print screen.
Oh, it's recording, so
you're recording it.
yeah, there is nothing. Like we have. Oh no, it's like, it would be like an
These skid marks, check this out. Somebody was flying when they wiped out.
Yeah, we have a big tire vibration or something that's down here at the very bottom, but
and
it's definitely a lot smoother. It's way smoother.
I am right in the window where we were getting all that. Yeah, and it would come and go. You see here, I'm putting a little load on it. I'm accelerating through. Yeah, there's nothing.
Don't tell him. We'll tell him that it's not fixed. Like, we'll have to look at it when he gets back.
One of the great things about diagnosing correctly, when you tear the component apart, you see the failure that you were expecting to see.
Yeah.
You know, if we'd have pulled that U-joint apart and there were no dry caps, no brittling or anything, you know, then you kind of like, uh-oh. But, you know, when you actually physically see the issue, and here we go, we're going to accelerate through again. This is where it was doing it.
There's nothing. It's 0 on the prop shaft vibration. Right there's our P1 or P2. There's nothing. Like,
what's this one right in here?
It's in between. I don't know. It's at 90 hertz.
We'll have to find out what that is. I mean, it's picking something up, but it's still not very high. But
well, it's going up to like 33, whatever it is. And I still have everything turned on, like all our gear ratios, everything are in here.
So everything is still set. So
yeah, the only thing we don't have in here is our pulleys.
Yeah, so we're still testing under the exact same conditions.
Yeah, because I loaded the file.
Yeah, cool.
And I started it from the file.
Yeah, he gets a set of tires on this thing. It'll be a nice ride.
I'm wondering though if maybe those vibrations could be caused from the tires, those other ones.
Well, you know what? You don't see it right now.
Yeah.
I'm on a D-cell.
Oh, our device disconnected.
That's strip.
Our device disconnected. Let me save this. We'll save this and then I'll reconnect it.
Yeah. Technically, we'd still need to drive this with the trailer on the back. So we put a real load on it. But
there you go.
For what we're able to do,
we're connected again.
Yeah, so whatever that red is, right in the center of the screen.
And that's about 90 hertz. And then we have this one that's down here around like 42 or so hertz. But I also wondered if it's...
By the way, these are bumps in the road.
Okay.
That's what those are all the way on the left.
I also, I wonder if maybe that noise could be from the tires with how they're worn, like, because they're not even contact with the road. So
yeah.
Are we getting a frequency that's not
listen right now, listen.
Yeah.
See, that's tire. That's tire all day long. And you will normally hear that until you come to a complete stop.
Yeah. So tell him if he wants all the noises to go away, just don't drive the truck.
No, but just listen. Just as you go slower and slower, you still hear it if you really listen for it. That's one of the characteristics of a tire noise versus a wheel bearing noise. And of course, here's a completely different road surface.
Yeah, that's another thing people don't think about is the road surfaces.
The smoother the road surface is, the more annoying certain sounds can actually be. When you're on a rough road, you've got so many different sounds, it breaks it up, so you're not as aware of it. There's times that, like, you got a cement median like this, you might hear the noise going past that, you don't hear it any other time. Now it's an echo.
Yeah.
Learning how to diagnose noises in the past, I'm driving the car, I'm hearing a noise, I've got to decide, am I hearing the sound directly to my ears? Am I hearing the sound be transmitted by a body component? Or am I hearing the sound echoing off the road?
Yeah.
Notice you can still feel that. That's tire. Other than normal engine noise now and vibration, the tire now, once you come to a complete stop, the tire's gone.
People want to hear a lot of noises, drive on a concrete road.
The surface is rough.
Yeah.
I've had people bring cars in complaining about a noise, and I'd take the car out and drive it, and I'm like, I'm not really picking anything up. And I'd start asking them, where was it doing? Oh, coming down Tuscarawas Road, going around, concrete road right there by the cemetery.
Yeah, it makes it a lot louder.
And it gets their attention, and they start thinking, oh, there's something wrong with the car. And it's like, all right, if that's the only time you're getting a noise, let's go for a ride and make sure. And it's like, okay, no, that's the tires against the road. That's just the road. That's normal. See, there's the plane landing. I flew the approach there on runway 28 a lot of times. Hear the tire again?
Yeah.
See, another little trick you'd often see me do trying to figure out a noise. I'll shift into neutral. I'll shut the engine off. Just let the car coast. I'll shift gears. I'll drop it into manual 1. Now, whatever it takes, I'll run the vehicle in different gears just to change the operating parameters. Now, with this software, we don't have to do that as much. You know, technically, it's doing that for us.
Now we can find out exactly what gear it makes a noise in. Because you can see each gear. So, like, when you have, like, a 10-speed transmission, imagine... Because you might not know if it's in, like, say, like 7th or 8th gear. Or...
Unless you were trying to watch a scan tool at the same time.
Because it could be in and out of that gear so quick and you have no idea.
Yeah, because you could be looking. You know, it's kind of hard to stare at a scan tool and drive down the road at the same time. Most diagnostics should be done with 2 technicians. Yeah, here's the end of the runway right here. You see the fence?
Okay.
See the balls?
Yeah.
That's why they're there. Trying to keep the airplanes from clipping a landing gear on the tail.
Oh, I never knew that's why they had them. I always wondered why they had them on some of them.
That's what they're for. That helps the pilots see the power line. See, the biggest thing about trying to land on here is look at the wires.
Yeah.
And those wires will grab the landing gear and it'll just flip you right over.
It might get a little exciting too.
What?
Might get a little exciting too.
It's already exciting if you're crashing. You're landing not somewhere other than the runway. You're technically crashing. It might be a controlled crash, which is what you can hope for, but you're still crashing.
It's an alternate landing.
STOL. You got to watch some of those videos. The STOL guys, they do some crazy stuff off airport.
I think
every once in a while they oops it pretty good.
I think we fixed this though.
Oh, I know we fixed it. That was different before we even got out to the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets a set of tires on this. It's going to be great for him to roll out to the Colorado.
I'm just surprised how well the software works and how easy it was to actually figure out. Because it didn't take more than a few hours to figure it out.
And we were playing. If you're using that all the time,
yeah, but I meant just the learning curve. Like, it wasn't that hard of a learning curve.
Think about how long it took to set it up the first time, and how long did it just take you now?
Not long.
Yeah, you were set up in less than 10 minutes. Yeah, you already had some of the other information preloaded, but physically attaching the sensors, and again, they're magnets. They just sit on top of the bolts for the seat tracks.
So I think the hardest part people have is just finding the transmission information if they want to put that in there, the gear ratios.
And you know what? At some point, yeah, you probably need that, but many, many times you probably don't. We really didn't need that for the prop shaft.
No.
We needed the axle ratio.
Yes. But
there's actually another way to get the axle ratio. If you know the tire size, you can figure out the tire rotations per mile.
Yeah.
You drive 60 mile per hour, you got your RPM on the prop shaft.
Oh, they can also rotate it and count it too.
I didn't hear you.
They can rotate the differential and count it too.
Yeah, you can rotate the differential, count
it. You get pretty close because there's only so many ratios you're going to have on a rear-wheel drive.
You'll see that in some of the videos. Just got to make sure that both rear tires rotate the same. Yeah,
I know.
Because remember, if only one rear tire rotates, just take a few more extra turns.
It's fixed, guys. Hope you guys like it. See you later.